Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning at the back. Can you hear me all right at the back? Fab, thank you. Good morning and welcome. My name's Alison. I'm here today representing the North East Local Enterprise Partnership in the Innovation Super Network. And along with my colleague Terry McStay from RTC North, we're doing a little bit of a double act for you to tell you about an exciting new challenge, which some of you may be aware of, but by the end of this workshop, certainly everyone will be aware of. So it's really great to see everyone here today to find out more about what we believe is going to be a really exciting challenge for this region and for a really good opportunity for businesses. And for those of you who have been here since 8 o'clock this morning at the Supply Chain Network, I hope you find that informative. But we really felt it appropriate and relevant to, I guess, tag along with their event because we felt that the content was very similar and there was much synergy between the programmes. So, although they're a difficult act to follow, hopefully we'll be able to inspire you here too today at our workshop. So today is, we're about to launch the Open Innovation 2.0 Lab, which we'll tell you more about shortly. And really the theme today is around collaboration. So to get us started, Terry's going to warm up the room before I continue with the process. So he's got the exciting part and I get the process part. So over to you, Terry.
Thanks, Alison. I've probably got the easiest job this morning, which is to encourage you to eat some chocolate. It doesn't get much better than that. So yeah, you'll have heard about the supply chain, some of you anyway, this morning, and this is very much about helping you to enhance your own supply chain by collaborating with organisations across Europe. You'll have picked up a small item of confectionery as you came in. You may have noticed that they're not all Cadbury's or another well-known brand. They are actually brands from across Europe. So what I'd like you to do is just have a look at what you've got, and around your table, see if there's someone who has something from the same country. See if you can work out where they're from. And then once you've identified your European partner, just see if can you find something you've got in common. There must be something that you share in some way. And you're not allowed to eat it until you've identified something you have in common. Right, so hopefully you've all found a partner now. Now let's see if you can do some collaboration.
There is a reason, by the way, I don't want to tell you. Oh, you've got that as well. I was in Bournemouth yesterday.
Right, so have you all managed to find something that you've got in common? Not necessarily with the country that it's from, but... Is the mic not... I don't think it is. Is the mic very quiet? Is that better? That's better. Yes, you can all hear me now. Right, I'm just going to have a little mingle and see if anyone would like to share something that they've found that they have in common with someone else on the table. Martin, did you find something in common with any of your European partners?
What we all found in common is no one knew where some of these chocolates were from.
Well, ignorance is something to be celebrated in some instances. So which ones do you have? You have the round red ones. So there's no clue. Ah, well, there you go. Well, that's a start, I suppose. Anyone on this table found out you have something in common? Sorry? They're all, well, that's a good answer. Anything between you that you've found that you have in common, that you share? Perhaps a passion for something or a hatred of something else, or no? That's true. So you all haven't done what I asked you to do, so you have that in common. You're all rebels, yes, that's a better way of putting it. Anyone on this table? Anyone found something you have in common in a chocolate-related way at all? No? There are a lot of Belgians. And is there... You all like well, yeah. And why? And chips as well, possibly, yeah. Right. Well, I think we've proven the point there that European collaboration is a wonderful thing. So if you haven't already, you can now unwrap your confectionery. And once you've stopped talking, which might take a while, I'll hand you back over to Alison. Right, there we are. We're all nice. We've all got to know each other a bit better. You can't... Is this better? Yeah, it's more like it. So we've all got to know one another a bit better. We've all understood a little bit more about Europe. We've all started to share something. We've all started to collaborate. That's what it's all about. So yeah, you can, Roy, yes, please do. You can now eat your chocolate and enjoy your breakfast. But more importantly, enjoy the next part of the morning, which is going to hand back over to Alison.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Did everyone find a partner from country? Yeah, good. Okay. So what's Open Innovation 2.0 Lab all about? Well, a little bird told me that downstairs, if can I have a quick wave of hands who was in the supply chain event earlier? Okay, quite 50% of the room. So some of you might have had a little bit of an insight into what this is all about. So hopefully you'll understand what it is I'm going to talk to you about. So the Open Innovation 2.0 Lab, it's part of a program called Invite, which is on the banner stand there. And the Invite programme is a collaboration of a number of different partners from European countries, including the UK, which hence we're involved. And it's partners who have expertise in the world of open innovation and in the world of supporting businesses to help with innovative practices. So today we are launching the Pan-European project, which some of you might be aware of. And it's to harness open innovation opportunities. The main thrust of today, which is the important part, is that we're launching a series of industrial challenges. And the first one's going to be launched today. And we're delighted to have Dave from Nissan to tell you a little bit about that shortly. But before he does that, I'd like to introduce you to Team Northeast. So Team Northeast is myself and Rebecca and Alan from the Northeast Local Enterprise Partnership, so they're heavily involved as a key partner in this region. And RTC North, we've got Terry, who you've met already, and Martin sat at the back of the room there. And then my colleague Estelle, who's also sat at the back of the room. There's a few of us in the room today who were involved heavily in Team Northeast. And the purpose of us being involved is to engage with you guys to show you what open innovation is all about and how you can engage and get involved in the challenge. The programme's funded by Horizon 2020, which some of you may be aware of, and essentially that exists to help research and development in companies and engagement of SMEs. Excuse me. So I said earlier the theme was about collaboration. So what does that actually mean in reality? So what we'd like to present to you today is a project that involves you as an SME collaborating with an industrial partner from another country. Now, some of you may already do that and have lots of expertise in this area. Some of you may be new to that and I'm not quite sure how to access that kind of partner. And I guess today is really about us trying to help you and guide you along the way to do that. So, sorry, just to go back a step. So the scheme today is to provide you with some the opportunity to win some money through innovation vouchers to work with a European partner on an industrial challenge. Now then, we're not the only region involved in this, so I'm pleased, in the spirit of partnership, I'm pleased to announce that today Stuttgart region are also launching their Open Innovation 2.0 Lab, and they're also launching their challenge, which is very similar to ours, is going to be based around the automotive sector. So for those of you who don't know Stuttgart or haven't had the opportunity to go there, it's kind of in the middle to south of Germany, in the middle of the region. It's landlocked, but it's got some really cool things going on. So if you want to have a look at the pictures, I can tell you that Stuttgart's got the most famous world-class ballet, which are these guys in the corner here. It's also got a tower, a TV tower in the top middle there, which was the first tower in the world to be built from reinforced concrete. So that was really innovative, and that happened in Stuttgart back in the day. It's also home to the world's second largest beer festival, which is a great thing, obviously. But as you can see, they like to be world class and they like to be at the leading edge. But the great thing about Stuttgart is that it's really famous for its automotive industry. And for those of you who work closely with that sector, you'll probably know that Mercedes and Porsche have their global headquarters in Stuttgart region there. So the synergies with our region are quite similar. So the great thing for us is the North East region is also involved in this challenge. And obviously, as you know, we've got a heritage of industrial engineering, and we've still got a real good skill set for manufacturing and engineering in this part of the world. So I guess that's our synergy with Stuttgart. But you know what? They don't get peace pudding. Peace pudding absolutely originated here. So we might have to share that with our partners later. So what's in it for me, you might be asking. And if you watched the video earlier, you might be wondering how you can get involved. But I think the key thing that we want to present to you today is that there's a great opportunity here to bid for, essentially it's a competition, to bid for some innovation vouchers that see you collaborating with an external partner from another part of Europe to put together a solution to a real live industry problem, which we're going to hear about in a little while. So one of the things that might interest you is that you can improve the way you pitch your ideas to businesses, to large manufacturers. This is an opportunity to do that, and there'll be support along the way through the Open Innovation team to help with that. It also gives you access to open innovation expertise and offers the matchmaking service I described earlier to access those partners overseas. I think the key thrust of this is that we keep talking about partnership, and in the spirit of partnership, the main theme of this competition is to provide a solution to the real live industry challenge, but in doing so, fill a gap which might be in your expertise or technology with another partner from another country overseas. And for me, I think the key opportunity in all of this is to open up dialogue with larger manufacturers, to work with their real problems that they have on lines, on production lines, and in their systems and processes, and to really open that dialogue up with manufacturers you wouldn't maybe normally work with. Would you agree with that, Terry? So we're presenting the challenge to you today, and there is some information available for you to take away. There is a challenge brief. However, just to give you a little idea of the timeline, for those of you who attended the workshop at VentureFest back in November, we kind of soft launched the information just to see what the appetite in this region was. But since then, we firmed up the challenge, and we're delighted to say we're working with the North East Automotive Alliance and their member organisations to present an automotive challenge to you today. So where we're at currently is this second part here, where we'll hard launch in this today. So the challenge goes live today, and following this event, if you'd like to register your business's interest, certainly have a chat with one of the team who are here today, or come and come and pick up some information, and you can contact us afterwards. And at the end of this presentation, there'll be information on how you can actually do that. So after that, what happens? So by the 31st of March, you will need to put in a full application of how you, why you'd like to get involved and how you propose to work with the overseas partner, whether you've got a partner already or whether you'd like us to help find you a partner. And then in April, May, what will happen is we'll approve we're going to approve 10 companies. So this is an opportunity for 10 businesses in this region to get involved to win these innovation vouchers. So 10 companies will be approved to go forward and work on the Real Life project. And they will have a period of 5 to 6 months to work on that. And then ultimately that's going to result in a pitch to an industry panel, which will include Nissan and Dave and the guys who are here today. And that's going to happen in September. And then we'll present the solutions at the VentureFest in November. So that's kind of quick whistle-stop tour of the timeline, conscious of time. So without further ado, I'm going to present David Forrest from Nissan, who's been he's come to us today to tell you about the challenge that it presents, and certainly he knows a lot more than I do about the technical information. So over to you, Dave.
Okay, does this work? Hello, does it work? Yeah, okay. So thanks very much. My name is David Forrest. I'm working the Information Systems Department at Nissan in Sunderland. Some of my responsibility is Industry 4 and digital innovation, but I cover the whole of the European region. So what we've got today is one of many pain points that we have in the manufacturing process. So I'm going to describe what the pain point is and sort of what we're trying to get out of it. But what I'm going to show is a sort of standard solution to it, and what we're actually looking for is the real innovation that people can bring to this. Okay, so the background to this. There's a requirement for a concern reporting tool on a mobile device, which we can give to operators or inspection staff on the shop floor. And it's basically to record issues or problems, or just flag up concerns that maybe the engineering department wanted to record. The app's intended to be used during periods maybe when new parts are introduced, so we've got a design change and we need to track how successful the part is at being fitted. Or the process has changed, we put in a new facility and we're having problems with the quality or the output of it, and we need to track that information. And also a new model as well. So if we're launching a new model, then we need to be able to track various aspects to that. The benefits of having an application to do this, and I'll show you how it's currently done, which might come as a bit of a surprise. The benefits of having an app, obviously, the fast data capture. It's going to be more accurate. We can get timestamps. We can try and gather all sorts of additional information that maybe we hadn't considered at the time. And it removes effort after the data capture for consolidating the data. So the current condition, this is an example from Nissan, but from Northeast Automotive Alliance, a lot of the partners have similar issues as well. On the right-hand side there, you can see an engineer has created an A4 bit of paper. He's taken some CAD data, annotated it, and then created a table, which you'll then go down to the shop floor. You'll give it to one of the production operators and say, please record the information every time you get a no-good part or there's a problem fitting the part, etc. It's filled in by hand, and then obviously at the end of the shift, he would give that back to the engineer, and the engineer's then got to type that into Excel and then do his analytics on that. So the challenge in a paragraph is to propose, design, and demonstrate an application that can run on any mobile device, Android or iOS, that allows an administrator, so in this case it would be the engineer, to quickly create a customized concern log. So this is one of the key aspects to the solution, is that the engineer can go in and very quickly create the framework of what he wants the operator to record. So we've got a few examples. And then obviously the operator will record this data, and then it'll be shared automatically, synced up to a database. So just to go into a little bit more detail, the administrator creates a custom dashboard. And here are some examples of the input types, but it's not limited to this. So there's a question and answer format, it could be. So we could be asking the operator various questions that he has to fill in, and it could be just a tick box, it could be text, it could be an image, it could be sound recording, etc. There's also a tally count format, so how many failures have you had of this particular part, etc. Once the engineer has created this framework, and we're hoping that this is very quick, a 5-minute job to create this job, because what he wants to record will change on a daily basis. The dashboard's locked, and then it's put into the app and given to the operator on the shop floor. At the end of the collection period, the data will sync up to a PC, storage location, or into a database for further analysis. So this is a really simple view of what it would look like. But as I mentioned, this is a really standard approach to doing it, and what we're looking for is innovation around this. But here we've got part quality check. So basically it's just a push button to say what was wrong with that part as it's coming down the line. We've got one here which is defect reporting, so this is more text-based, so the operator has to type in a number and the part description, etc., and it would automatically put a time and date on that. What we're looking for here is what innovation can we bring to minimize this effort for the operator to fill it in. And then this one here is a simple fault tree diagnosis. So basically drill down, so the operator would pick model B, and then it would sort of a nested drill down to the various options that he's got to pick from, and that would be synced up. Some important factors to consider as well is that obviously this is going to be used on the shop floor, so the factory environment is fast moving. The operator typically works on a 60-second cycle time, and this sounds very efficient, so we filled that time very well. He has no spare time. So that's where we want to bring the first step of innovation, is how can the operator complete his task while he's still doing his normal task. Obviously the operators wear safety equipment, so he's wearing gloves, he's wearing ear defenders, a bump cap. If we're considering voice inputs to this, voice recognition, you need to be aware that the shop floor is very noisy. There's the machinery. There's also generally a radio playing music at the same time. And we've got diverse regional accents. There's a wide range of operator inspector IT skills. So whatever the solution is, it has to be pick up and use, no training required. It's very easy to use. And then Wi-Fi coverage isn't guaranteed either. So there's pockets of the shop floor that don't have Wi-Fi coverage. So the solution has to be able to store locally and then sync once it gets back into Wi-Fi coverage. A couple of notes here on boundaries. So we're not expecting the solution to sync with any existing systems that we've got, any IoT platforms and databases we've already got. That we would look at that afterwards. In terms of cost, we looked and said, how much would it cost for us to create something that would do the job, but not really very innovative? And we came up with a figure of 10K. So if whatever solution we would be willing to pay about 10K one-off fee for. And then obviously IP, that needs to be discussed, because obviously you could sell this on to whoever you wanted. And that's it, basically. So what you've seen is, on the face of it, might seem very simplistic, and it's just digitizing this paper form, but actually what we want to see is innovative solutions in terms of how to capture that data. So is it image recognition, voice recognition, reading the operator's mind, whatever you can come up with. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. So as Dave mentioned, that's kind of been thrown out by the Automotive Alliance. Nissan is obviously one of the companies in that organisation, but it's very much for the whole of the sector. All the companies in that sector probably have similar problems. In fact, I would imagine most production line-based companies will have issues such as that. So this isn't just about Nissan. This is a massive opportunity. So hopefully you'll take it in that way. Now I know you're all thinking, I could do that. In fact, some of you, I bet, have written down your answer to the problem, which is great. But two things I would say about that. One is that, as Alison mentioned, the key or one of the key elements of this is that it's about collaboration, and it's about you working with a partner in another part of Europe to develop a solution that you probably can't do on your own. So if you've only got half the answer, that's absolutely fine. If you've got the solution already, or you think you have, it's not really going to work. We're looking for something more than that. So what I'm going to do is just help you to be a bit more creative and maybe have a few more ideas. So does anyone know who this chap is? Rory, you'll know who this is. It is, Justin. Very good. Excellent. And what can you tell us about Linus Pauling in terms of his credentials?
I think that along with Marie Curie, he's one of the few people who've won Nobel Prizes in 2 different disciplines.
Excellent, fantastic, perfect answer. Sorry, Roy, you beat you to it. So it's clearly a very clever bloke. He was once apparently giving a lecture, a kind of a public lecture, and somebody said to him, "Mr. Pauling, how do you have so many good ideas?" And he said, "I just have lots of ideas. Some of them are good ones, but probably quite a lot of them aren't very good ones." Here's another question for you. We all know the company Siemens, massive German conglomerate. They said not that long ago that if they were to launch a new product today, when the process of creating that product started, say 3 years previously, well, actually, I'll throw this out. How many ideas do you think they would have started with 3 years ago to launch one new product today? Anyone like to put a number on that? Come on. 10,000. You're not far wrong. 9,000. So just imagine 9,000 post-it notes around this room, each with a different idea on, and only one of them is the one that actually goes forward. So 8,999 of them went in the bin. Or perhaps they weren't right, it wasn't the right time, there were probably all sorts of issues with that. Now, if they'd had their brainstorming session and stopped after 6,000, they might not have got to the one that was the one that actually went forward. So the point I'm trying to make is, you're probably sitting here now thinking, yeah, we know how to solve that. Maybe you do, but I would encourage you not to stop there. I would encourage you to have more ideas, to keep going, not just because the next idea might be the best one, but also because, as I say, the whole purpose of this is for you to engage with someone who can do something that you can't. So your idea might be something that you can't currently do. That's exactly what we want, because then we can help you, if you need to find a partner who can do that thing that you can't do. So just what I'm going to do is just to give you an idea of, or a way that you might want to be, try to be. I mean, I can tell you're all very creative people. I can tell you're just buzzing with ideas. But I thought I might give you just another way that you maybe haven't used before to be a bit more creative. We've all done brainstorming before. Are we still allowed to call it brainstorm? We're probably not, are we? Thought showers, yes. Thanks, Chris. We know it's brainstorming. So, but what I'd like you to do is we're just going to try something a bit different. We're going to try some reverse brainstorming, or a reverse thought shower. It doesn't sound quite the same, does it? So rather than thinking about a solution to the problem that Dave has just shared, what we're going to do for the next 10 minutes or so is think of really bad solutions to that problem. In fact, the worst solution you could probably think of. Yeah? Now, you might think, why on earth would we want to do that? But the whole point of this is to unlock those little bits of your brain that aren't doing the logical bit and aren't doing the sensible bit, because it might just come up with something that you hadn't thought of. It's actually much better to do than to talk about. So should we just get started? Right, yes.
Can I just say that Linus Pauling, it's quite interesting, Linus Pauling won 2 Nobel Prizes. However, he also had the first idea around the structure of DNA, but he was completely wrong. His idea, and he pushed it very, very hard, was a quadruple helix. And it was because he had the idea around quadruple helix that Crick and Watson, together with Rosalind Franklin, by the way, who was misrepresented in the development, they came up with the triple helix as the solution. So Linus Pauling, although he won 2 Nobel Prizes, he made a mistake but on DNA. But his idea led to a solution from the other 2.
Yeah.
Just by the way,
Yeah.
this is just a perfect example.
The idea.
It was
Yeah.
open innovation in 1953-54.
And the idea isn't necessarily the one that is going to work. It could then lead on to other things. So we're going to do some reverse. I'm just going to call it brainstorming. We're going to do some reverse brainstorming about that problem that Nissan and other companies have. How do you record that information? So just imagine this thing, this app, whatever it might be. How could we make it really, really bad? What are the terrible features that it really shouldn't have? Who'd like to go first?
Causes you pain every time you use
It causes pain, so the operator gets a little electric shock every time he uses it. Excellent. Thanks, Alan, for kicking us off. Yes?
It's in a language that nobody understands.
It's in Klingon, perhaps. Yes? Excellent. Anyone else? Come on. What would make this thing just the absolute worst thing you could imagine?
Okay, so the first thing that came to mind was Ronald McDonald.
Right. In what sense?
It's children are dressed up in fancy clothes with big shoes.
So you have to wear a costume in order to use
Or
it.
might be wearing big gloves.
Yeah, yeah. Fabulous, yeah.
It only works on Nokia phones.
It only... or other non-operational phones are... But yes, it only works on... It crash. How often does it crash, John? Every 2 or 3 seconds. And you lose the data every time. Fantastic. Anyone else? Come on. Right, so every time you use it, it docks your wages. Anyone else? Come on. I can see you getting into the swing of it now. What would be... How is it powered? It's hand cranked. Anyone else?
By children in Asia.
It's powered by children in Asia. Thank you, Alan.
The bloke who invented it has left the company.
Right, even better, yeah. No, so no one knows how it works. Yeah. There's no instruction manual. No one has a clue how to work it. Anyone else? Come on.
It runs COBOL.
Sorry? What? Fine, yeah. It works on four. Oh, we can do better than that. Basic.
It's like green screen.
Right, yep. Anyone else? What kind of features does it have?
It takes so much battery that the battery disappears after you press it.
Every time you press a button, the battery goes dead, and you have to recharge it for. And how long does it take to recharge?
24 hours.
24 hours. We're getting there.
All the data stored on Betamax.
Yeah. Or
There was not many people knew who.
or paper tape. Stored on paper tape, even better. Anyone else? What other features should it
It
have?
sends all the data to Jaguar.
In fact, every other car manufacturer in the world. Why not? Why start with Jaguar? Yes. Did you have it?
Yeah, just the voice recognition system requires a Geordie who...
Right. Excellent.
Sunderland supporters can't use it.
Perfect.
So it requires the operator has to walk for, I don't know, 5 minutes to be able to record the data.
So they have to move away from the station for. Right. Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
And
Come
they
on.
can't do anything else.
And they can't do anything else while they're doing that. Right.
Every transaction requires sign-off from our cabinet.
Right. Oh well. I think we're getting a little bit extreme now. But it requires sign off from 5 different people in the organisation. Come on, let's have how many pages are you on there, Alison?
2, yeah.
Let's get one more page. Come on, we need some more ideas. We need at least 9,000 bad ones. Oh, sorry, Roger.
Only an inspector can use it.
Only, you can do better than that. Come on, a bit more extreme.
Only the CEO.
Only the CEO can use it.
And
Yeah.
he's in jail.
And I think that might be a bit of a sore point just now. Right, come on, let's have a few more, and then we'll move on. One more, come on.
Keeps flashing ads.
Right, it's full of adverts for Jaguars, probably. Right, and one more. Sorry.
Keeps losing connection
Right, it doesn't connect to anything.
while the signals.
Yeah, and there's no. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you were probably a lot more creative there. Sorry, it's very. Let's have a bit more, Alan. Come on, really extreme. How heavy is it? It's impossible to lift. Yeah, it needs to be on a trolley.
It's massive.
Yeah,
It's not on a trolley.
it's bigger than that.
People to lift it.
Even right. There we go. Right. Now that was. Yeah, you might think, what was the point of that? But you probably unlocked bits of your brain, bits of your creativity that you wouldn't normally. If we just said, right, let's think of what the sensible solutions to this would be. It would be all kind of, the usual stuff. So you've probably unlocked some things that you maybe wouldn't have done. So what we now do is we look at these crazy ideas and see if they actually spark off something useful. So we've done the reverse bit. Now we're going to do the actual real bit of thought showering. So what have we got here? So it's really, really heavy. In fact, you can't actually lift it. So what does that maybe make you think about in terms of what the real solution should be? Any thoughts?
Like handheld device. No, it's hands-free.
Yeah, maybe that could be something that you might want to incorporate. So you don't actually have to lift it. It's just kind of there
It's
somehow.
on all the time.
Yeah? Any other things that sparks off?
Well, that leads you on to biotech, doesn't it? You can actually build it into the equipment, the guys you go into.
Yeah.
Is
It could be something wearable. Yeah, yeah,
It learns the most likely things for you to see.
yeah.
Is the other obvious thing.
It causes physical pain when you use it, right? Okay, we probably don't want that feature built in, but what does that maybe? If you turn that round, if you flip it over,
Well, it's something enjoyable, isn't it? It's like a game that you start.
It could be
when
yeah.
you play it, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You want to do more.
Or there could perhaps be, rather than a negative incentive, could there perhaps be some positive incentives? So the more you use it and the more accurate you are, perhaps there's some kind of, I don't know, bonus or a league table or something. Yeah, maybe. What do we? Yeah, that's.
Terry, I've had, it's maybe divergent thought, but
We like divergent thoughts. Just don't worry about
so
it.
that with locked-in syndrome, people can't speak, they can't
Mm.
move, but actually they can move their eyes and they can blink. So
Yeah.
so there are tools that I've been to a wedding where the groom said "I do" by blinking.
Really? Wow.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's So that's even
I'm-
beyond wearable. It's just it doesn't
So you
require.
look at it or you
Yeah.
blink or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay, great. Let's see. It only works on a Nokia phone, right? Okay. So let's turn that over. What does that tell us that it needs? Because that probably came from something real. It's probably somewhere in there. So what does that actually mean that it should do? Sorry?
Platform agnostic.
Platform agnostic? Yeah? So it doesn't need anything in particular. It'll work anywhere.
More than that, isn't it? It's forward looking towards future platforms as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we'd only, I'm sure Nissan and whoever else doesn't really want to be going through this process in a year's time or in 5 years' time. It'd be good if this could just be put in place and it's there.
I suppose it's also an understanding that it's a joke saying Nokia, but at one time Nokia was one of the most popular phones.
Well, exactly.
So now you're saying Android and iOS, but in another 2, 3, 4 years' time there might be another
There could well be,
system that might
yeah.
replace it. So
It has no instructions. There's no instruction manual. Well, actually, that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? So it needs to be really simple so somebody can just pick it up and it's really, really obvious how it's going to work. Yeah? It's hand-powered by children in Asia. Alan, come on, you threw that one out. Let's see if you can turn it on its head and make something positive about that.
I mean, I suppose that it ideally by using it contributes to energy saving or something like that. I don't know. The
Yeah.
effort you put in
Yeah.
is creative and positive as opposed to.
Or perhaps even the more you use it, there's a sponsorship scheme for impoverished children in Asia. Some kind of charity. I don't know.
It makes you happy.
Well, at the very least, it should make you happy. Yeah.
Do you hear that, Terry?
Sorry?
So someone said it generates Bitcoin.
Right.
Bitcoin,
That another contentious issue that's being thrown out. It sends data to other car manufacturers, right? Obviously, they don't want that. But how can we? What does that tell us? Obviously, it needs to be secure, which might be obvious, but then again, maybe not.
The converse of that, of course, is in collaboration.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point.
By the way, what it suggests is that Nissan should have a conversation with other manufacturers on
Mhm.
the potential open access value
Mhm.
of data that they might get
Yeah.
without it being competitive.
Yeah.
Non-competitive open access.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. So
Pharma companies are now doing that all the time.
yeah. So this could actually be a tool for information sharing, knowledge sharing, collaboration between people who are seen to be competitors, but who could actually support one another.
So long as they can identify where they're not
Yeah,
competitive.
exactly. So if there was some way that could be built in, there's some way that there could be that could be factored into the
So
when it's
shared
being
data.
set up. Yeah, if it's appropriate to be shared, then that could be done. If it's not appropriate, then it's kind of locked down. We'll do a couple more. Only to see, we'll skip the fact that Carlos is in jail. It only recognises Geordie / Macam. We don't want to be, tribal here. So what does that tell you? I mean, Dave mentioned that there are diverse regional accents. Does that make us think of anything kind of positive? Anything that should be built into it? Anything? No. I can see. Sorry?
It learns.
It yeah. So So it isn't just fixed. It learns as it goes, and there's some way that very good.
It speaks
Excellent.
all languages, in fact.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll leave it there. But you see, I mean, that was a bit of fun. But at the same time, there are some things there that we came up with that you maybe wouldn't have come up with if I'd just said, come on, then let's think about how we should build this thing. So the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, you might be sitting there thinking we've sorted this. Maybe you have, but for two reasons. One, that you've got one idea, you maybe want to wait till you've got a couple of dozen, but also the main point is that this competition is, the applications are only open to those of you who need to work with another partner who can do the thing that you can't do. So if you have a great idea for something that you really think would make this thing work, but it's not something you can do, that's great. That's precisely what this funding is for. And what we will then do is help you to find someone who knows about voice recognition or who knows about whatever feature you want to build in to help you to put your application together and actually develop something that's going to work. Okay? Good. And also, reverse thought showers are a really good thing to do. Just, you know, at whatever stage of the ideas generation process you're at. So I'd encourage you to do it more often. Right, and now I'm going to hand back over to Martin. That's right. So we talked about, I mentioned that this is open to projects where you need to collaborate with someone. If you have people you're working with already, that's fine. But if you're not, there are lots of resources out there that can help you to do that. So Martin's going to take you through some of those. Once I found out where I put the clicker, there it is. I always leave it somewhere stupid.
Okay, this is literally just a couple of minutes at the end, so we won't hold you up much longer because this is just really, if you like, it's the bolt-on. The team have talked to you about this challenge and the fact that we're looking to support collaboration across boundaries, but obviously that there are other things that you might need along the way, and also there are, outside of this competition, it would be great to see people collaborating more. So this other sources of support, this couple of minutes, is just literally to identify some other things that are going on, other tools that you can use along the way. Very simply, there's the stuff within this project, this OI2 Lab, the Invite project, but there's also stuff around it, and there are people who can help locally in these types of challenges. Because although the Invite program has 2 challenges over the next couple of years, those of you who were downstairs earlier on listening to the supply chain launch, I'm sure you will remember Jim and others mentioning that there are going to be other challenges coming through the supply chain project. So you can use this type of support and these types of tools wherever you are in your business, not just to do with this particular challenge that Dave outlined so eloquently earlier. So very quickly, Invite Project will give you access to this thing called the Enterprise Europe Network. Some of you will have heard of it, some of you will not. It will also give you access at a point later on this year to the 9 Sigma Network, which is also, again, some of you may have heard of it, you may have not. In terms of keeping this simple, if you want to know more about these particular networks, come and grab one of us at the end, rather than making this into a long description of what these networks do and how they work if you haven't come across them. And likewise, in the Stuttgart region, actually across most of Germany, Steinbeiß also have a network. So again, Steinbeiß are one of the partners in the project, so they're another potential source of collaboration, support, other people to work with. The lab with the OI2 lab itself, when it's operational, will give you a space to work collaboratively with people. It will also have some e-learning modules bolted onto it, so that, again, if there are aspects of the collaboration process that you're not familiar with, that you might want a bit of help on, you might want to understand what you're getting yourself into if you haven't done it before, all of that stuff will be on there, and we will let you know when that's up and running and ready for you to start looking at. And for those of you who win the competitions, you will actually get a real advisor in Stuttgart or in the UK or wherever else you are based in Europe to help you, guide you through the process. Locally, of course, you have the partners. You have Team Northeast, Northeast LEP, RTC, the other things around that, like the things you can get through the Growth Hub. Again, whistling through that because I'm assuming all of you know about the Growth Hub and what you can get through it. And also the clusters. I've rather clumsily just called them trade clusters. Again, if you're down this morning, you heard about those clusters who were involved in the supply chain project, so your NEA, your NEPIC, Generator, but there are other clusters based in the region and based nationally that might be able to help you with this, and again, we can put you in touch with them if you don't know them already. This is a bit of a fun slide just to try and see how all these different things, particularly Enterprise Europe Network and the KTN, fit in nationally within what Innovate UK are trying to do to support innovation and to support these kinds of projects. Because again, don't want to particularly go into a lot of detail, but Innovate UK provides support to things like EAN and KTN and these Challenge Fund competitions. So again, that's another area that might be of interest to you if you've not looked at the Industrial Strategy Challenge Fund competitions that are being pushed throughout this year through Innovate UK's website. Again, just another set of resources that most people aren't aware of, because when you think about innovation, you don't necessarily think about standards. In fact, quite often people look at you slightly askance when you say, can you standardise innovation? Can you standardise collaboration? Well, here's two examples of how you can, because there are two standards, well, technically three. The one on this side, the left-hand side, is actually the International Standard 44001 for collaboration. So if you want to know about how to collaborate, there is an international standard that says here are the key elements you need to consider before getting into a collaboration agreement. Again, I'm fairly sure if I asked you to put your hands up, no one would have heard of it. But I'm not going to embarrass you by proving that. Another one that you won't have heard of, SEN 16555, that's all about innovation management systems. So if you want to innovate, there's quite a lot of research that says if you do it systematically, and you can, it's not magic, it's not a black box, if you put in some basic building blocks, you can do it time and time again, and that will lead you to having a stronger, more robust, more resilient business. And so again, whether or not you look at CEN 16555, or later on this year, there will be an ISO standard on exactly the same topic, which will be 56002. Again, these are resources that exist. The 56,000 one isn't quite published yet, but the others are all there, and you can get hold of them however you normally get hold of standards. But they may help you create systems that allow you to look at these collaboration opportunities, these competition opportunities, and have a method and look at it systematically. So again, trying to do this really, really quickly, that was just what I wanted to outline. I said, there is stuff out there, there are people out there that can help you in doing this kind of stuff. You want to know more, come and talk to one of the team, and we'll plug you into either the knowledge or the connection that you need. That's the point of the project. Thank you.
Alison, can I just quickly say something which we may not have covered? As Alison mentioned earlier, this is happening now here. At this moment, I think, in Stuttgart, a similar launch is taking place. So you're probably going to cover it in a minute, but there's funding for 10 projects that we are looking after, but there's another 10 projects being launched in the Stuttgart area. You can apply to deliver one of those projects yourself, but also there are people out there who may need your services. So if you're a technology provider, a digital agency, who can offer services to another partner, that's another way that you can get involved in the project. So as well as applying yourself, we'll try to make sure that when those requirements come through from other applicants, we share those with you guys. So if there's something that you can actually contribute to, you can get involved that way as well.
Okay, so that was a real whistle-stop tour of what the challenge is, how you can help the manufacturers in the North East Automotive Alliance for this particular challenge, how you can access collaborative opportunities with European partners. Now, obviously, we can't give you all those answers in an hour, so as Terry and Martin said, that's why we're here today, and that's why we'll be in contact with you if you want to progress this. Just a quick reminder, I had this slide up earlier, so some key dates you might want to make note of there if you're interested. The application deadline is the 31st of March for companies who would like to submit an application to apply for an innovation voucher. That's the €5,000 we talked about. And if you're not sure yet, or you think you might have a solution but don't know whether this is for you, please come and have a chat to us. It's very informal, and we can talk you through that process there. Another key date is the September date, so at the end there where you would be pitching those solutions, and you're not pitching ideas, actually you're pitching the solution, or a partly developed solution, or something that's in transit. And I think that's kind of, it's a very short period of time for those of you who have worked on this kind of thing before. For people who have never done this before, it's a great opportunity to maybe test your foot in the water, to just try a little bit of R&D out and see what happens. But I think the key thing is the collaboration, so hopefully that message has come across there. And just to finish off,
the northeast of England isn't just a beautiful place to live and work. It boasts a thriving industrial core, an active community of great engineering and manufacturing companies that are helping to solve the world's problems and shipping our work to a global market. But as a sector, where do we go when we have challenges? When we work in a globally connected marketplace, whom can we turn to with the knowledge, skills and experience to solve the problems we face every day? The Open Innovation 2.0 Lab is part of Invite, a European-funded project from Horizon 2020 that aims to match SMEs from different countries across Europe with large industrial manufacturers who have problems to solve. Its purpose is to encourage SMEs who think they have the answer, or rather part of it, to collaborate with European contemporaries on proof-of-concept solutions. The aim is to understand what advantages and opportunities collaboration creates, and specifically what doors it opens into some of Europe's biggest industrial names. Alongside Stuttgart in Germany, the Northeast has been chosen as one of 2 European test regions for the scheme, with a challenge launching early 2019 and another scheduled for 2020. In each case, the idea is to take one real-life challenge that a big industrial brand is facing and make available a number of €5,000 grants to cover the cost of scoping a solution. Successful applicants will only offer part of a solution, be open to collaborating on its refinement and implementation with a European partner which the scheme will provide. The first challenge, set by a Northeast-based global automotive brand, is to digitise a paper-based defect reporting tool. The company is looking for innovative proposals that allow real-time standardised reporting of production issues on mobile devices and subsequent analysis of resulting data. We know, because we're part of it, that the Northeast has been at the cutting edge of problem solving and industrial innovation since the days of George Stephenson and Joseph Swan. We don't yet know what problems you can solve with all the collective brainpower Europe has to offer behind you. Through the Open Innovation 2.0 Lab challenges, we intend to find out. For details and to enter, visit www.northeastgrowthhub.co.uk/invite.
Okay, so hopefully that summed it up much better than I could. So hopefully you've got the gist of what the challenge is about. We've got some information on the front here which you can grab on the way out, and certainly we'll be around for a little while if you want to grab a coffee and have a chat. Okay, so many thanks for your time.